Seavers have to say.
Seaver says,
Same time, Vince can only give him so much.
yeah, but at the
stuff.
same time, he's feeding us Roman Reigns. I mean,
Don't
Roman
get me started on
Reigns.
Roman.
And he doesn't care. His philosophy is love him or hate him, at least he gets a reaction. And I hear that, at least people are booing him. But people, if you're listening, if you really don't like Roman Reigns, and we don't.
I don't.
Not
at all. I can't
don't
stand him.
boo. Just don't do anything. Austin said it best. When you notice you have a problem, and when they notice they have a problem, is when you're all going up to buy a T-shirt during a match.
See, that's the problem I have with Roman Reigns, is the fact that everybody hates him. Everybody hates him, but they want to boo him as soon as he comes out. But they're still going to buy his T-shirts.
All right, Jason Jaco, hold that thought. We got to take a quick break, and we will be right back with our hatred of Roman Reigns.
They died.
They died. Good, but yous are both bad. Especially you. Well, now, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to Austin. Austin thinks he's going to get better, and I listened to him rank the pay-per-view after WrestleMania this year. What's that pay-per-view called right after WrestleMania? Payback. When he fought AJ Styles.
AJ Styles should have won that.
Well,
Should have.
Austin gave it a 5-star match. He said it's 5 stars in his book.
It was a good match.
He said it's because of AJ Styles. Austin put him over, and that's not the only time I've heard Stone Cold give him the rub. Well, Styles is a veteran, and he's been around the world, so he's going to carry this young man and Roman Reigns and make him look good. But, I don't know how much longer you can keep the title on him.
I wouldn't keep him. I wouldn't keep the title on him at all. He's better as a chaser than as a champion. Like literally. Like, I prefer him chasing after that title, going after guys, getting it.
I hear the argument to make him heel would fix him.
Oh, if he was heel, he's kind of heel. He's kind of heel right now. Not being, he's like he says,
he's
I'm
still
not the
acting
good guy,
the
I'm
baby
not the bad
face.
guy,
Well,
I'm just that guy.
He is trying to be impartial, but it's not working for him. I think if he went all the way heel, it might actually work.
Yeah.
But
see, I would love for a Roman Reigns heel turn.
Yeah.
Because when they started out, they was heels. Even back in NXT. When they got called up doing the Shield thing and stuff, they were still heels. And he worked a little bit better. Just being that muscle. Like, I'm sorry. No offense. No offense to Roman Reigns. Sorry.
Look, he knows I like Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, though.
I don't like wrestling,
The girls do like Roman Reigns.
That's
That's what he has.
I don't give
That's
up.
what he has going
talking, I was
for him. His fan base is the women now, but unfortunately, it's not enough to keep him going. But if you really want to capitalize on money,
You're what?
and nowadays situations.
I just left him down there. I was like, Heidi, I'm leaving. Bye,
What-
bitch.
My oldest will be
know.
back at 6. So
I love
we'll be
you.
home.
He's like, yes, the loudmouth.
I mean, they're loud, so.
I just can't quit. Like, my mouth ain't never shut. I'm surprised he ain't smacked me in it yet.
See you later. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
What's
Like,
going
you ain't seen her.
What's going on right now with Brock Lesnar?
Just don't say
I
that.
think you need to take the title and put it on him.
No, see, we can't go down that route of Brock Lesnar being the champion.
Why not?
Well, For the simple fact that Brock doesn't show up.
It gives the title more prestige if it's not
It does.
defended every. Okay, let's segue on back to the days of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Now, would Hollywood be on every pay-per-view? No. Would he defend that title? No. And we look back on that time and we think, hey, that's the greatest era of professional wrestling there ever was.
Wait, hold on. This brings me to CM Punk.
CM Punk.
CM Punk
Defended it for...
sat there and was like, I am the greatest world champion of all time. Because he did. This was prior to the 70s, prior to the 60s, even prior to the 80s. Because that's what they would do. They would hold the title, only defend it, Madison Square Garden. This event, that event, it would be defended all the time. He did defend that title every single night.
Yeah, but you're thinking back all the way to the days of the territories when you get into that mentality.
See, like, that's what he looks back on. And CM Punk is like, all right, I was champion for 360 some days.
But the territories weren't ever what drew the money. What drew the big money was the NWO in the Attitude Era.
That's completely different, though. Like, all of a sudden, before that, wrestling was different. Wrestling was different. You either got wrestling or you didn't. Like, it wasn't mainstream. It wasn't nothing like that. Like, you was a wrestling fan, and you would sit there and you would watch 1980s WCW NWA. You would watch Arn Anderson. You would watch all those people. But then all of a sudden, like, Scott Hall just came out of nowhere, and then everyone was like, what the hell was this?
And it brought the element of realism. Well, it brought the element of realism.
Yes.
And that's what pro wrestling was lacking up until that point. And in my opinion, it's what's lacking now. And it is. And it's what was lacking when CM Punk held that title.
Well, see, with CM Punk, like, he would just sit back and he would sit there and be like, well, I'm the champion. I've been the champion for 145 days. I'm the champion for 245 days.
Yeah, but it was just a gimmick at the end, and to me, some of the fights he had just didn't look real because I mean, seriously, when he squared off and he could barely pick up the Rock to do his move,
that was
because
one match.
But still, against The Undertaker, who's bigger than The Rock, it just didn't look...
That was another match. But what I'm saying is, as champion, his matches with Alberto Del Rio...
I always had an issue with his elbow off the top rope as well. I thought it was crap.
I thought it was crap, too. I hated that shit.
Shawn Michaels, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, those are some nice elbow drops. And Punk can't even have enough force to break the announce table when he comes off with it.
Punk used to sit there and be like, oh, I'm doing this in dedication to Macho Man. And it was garbage. It was garbage. That was not his style. He was not that type of wrestler. And I hated that shit. Every time I watched him climb up to the ropes and do the Macho Man elbow, I hated it. I was like, that he doesn't need to do that.
We'll save old CM Punk for another time. He's coming up. He's got a fight at UFC 202.
He's had a fight for like 3 years.
But it's coming up. It's supposed to be in August. So I'm sure in a couple weeks his name's going to be everywhere, just like Brock Lesnar is. And
nope. Before August, once the middle of July, after the UFC 200 fight and shit like happens, Punk won't be part of it. I guarantee you that. I guarantee that.
We'll see. Anyway, let's segue on down to another MMA fighter who passed away this week, and his name is Kimbo Slice. What are your thoughts on Kimbo Slice there, Jason?
Well, see, the problem is that I had with Kimbo Slice is he failed his drug test. He I don't know. I can't really talk about Kimbo because Kimbo Slice was a great fighter, street fighter. He wasn't a great MMA fighter. He wasn't. Like, I liked what I seen from him from YouTube. I liked seeing him in the backyard fighting and stuff like that. And he tried to transition it, but it just didn't work.
Now, I remember, this is some, 16 odd years ago. Probably 2000, 2001, maybe 2002. A cat by the name of Jason Reed, he's like, you gotta check out this guy. And he's putting on these old YouTube videos of this enormous man.
Silent but violent.
Getting out of an SUV saying it's fight time. He takes off his gold chain fist. He takes off his shirt. He immediately walks into a fight.
Yep.
And then, boom, one way or the other, he's taking his opponent down, knockout. Now, I wouldn't want to get hit with Kimbo Slice fist, but I'm saying that if he was a little bit younger and he would have evolved into maybe a good MMA fighter, because by the time MMA became popular and it was his time to shine, he was just a little bit too old, I think.
See, what I think, in all honesty, is the fact that he did everything every street. Like literally, he would hop out the ride and fight somebody. Doesn't matter who it was.
Yeah.
And stuff. You could watch those videos on YouTube. But, like, he was just straight street fight. That's all he knew how to do. He tried to transition it into MMA and be like, all right, well, I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to whoop the hell out of him.
Whoop the hell, beat. But he was humble at the same time. I remember
he was the nicest guy in the world.
He'd get out of his Hummer and then the dude recording would be like, hey, the champ's here. And he'd be like, hey, I'm not the champ yet. I got a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is that he had was, like, he couldn't transition it. He couldn't take it from the streets, from the hood.
Right.
And then, like, be like, all right, I'm going to, like, try to straighten myself out and be...
He had no ground game, basically, is because he was a straight-up street fighter.
Yes, that's all it was.
But
like,
he does have his
fights.
moments. Did you see the clip of him popping that dude's cauliflower ear? Boom.
Yes, I seen that. Like, that's all it was. Like, he was just a straight street fighter. And then when he passed away, like, I was... Because, I mean, well known. Kimbo Slice. Everybody knows Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, Kimbo Slice.
UFC,
UFC fighter. Highest rated season. Season 10. Kimbo Slice on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I had with him is he just couldn't transition.
Did you see that fight, one of his last fights against Data 5000, Data 2000?
No, I never seen that one.
Well, they were both so far out of conditioning, and Data actually died during that fight. It wasn't the ending is him passing out, and they award Kimbo because the dude just passed out. He didn't. He didn't get beat. He didn't get knocked out. Just like I'm done. He felt it. They said he legally died during it. But
how do you legally die?
They said his heart stopped for like 5 seconds during the fight. He had to be revived. Anyway, Kimbo gets tested and comes up positive for steroids. So then they have to award it a no contest.
See, that's what's crazy. That is the craziest thing in the world, is the fact that they tested him, he got popped for this stuff, and then all of a sudden his heart failed. Like, there's something that's not right about that.
Yeah, he was in line for a heart transplant, they say. And,
I don't know. I know a lot of people, like normal people.
They said he was in line for a heart transplant, and he went into the hospital originally for stomach pains and his heart. It ended up failing him. They were going to life flight him because and put him next in line on a heart transplant. But
that's one of the that Kimbo Slice was one of the biggest surprising deaths I've seen. Like literally, China, France, all these people and stuff
China,
like that.
yeah, China.
But when I heard Kimbo Slice passed away, that just like I don't know. I was like, what?
Yeah, Kimbo
Of
Slice.
all people.
Well, rest in peace, Kimbo. We're going to segue it down onto our next topic, which is the Hulk Hogan Gawker lawsuit. And Gawker...
You mean Hulk Hogan hulking up?
Hulk Hogan hawking up.
He was a real American and he fucking bankrupted.
Yeah. They really destroyed his life, destroyed his career, and it's a story of revenge for... Hulk Hogan, American hero, getting revenge on somebody destroying his life. It actually is a good story.
They was like, literally, like, what you gonna do, brother?
Yeah.
What you gonna... And then he bankrupted them. Like, that was one of the greatest things I have heard in my life. Like, I don't even like God.
Now, I know they were responsible for the sex tape. Were they responsible leaking the phone conversation where it's painted him as a racist?
No. See that I can't stand that. Because no matter what, even though when the tape came out and he was like, I'm saying this, I'm saying that, Jamie Foxx, all these black people,
Snoop Dogg.
Yep, they was like,
Mr. T.
I don't give a fuck what Hulk's saying.
These are big names. Dennis Rodman. These are big names saying Hulk Hogan is not a racist, and we stand by him in his moment of need. Yet WWE still, they don't listen. He'll be back eventually. He'll be
back by next WrestleMania. I guarantee you.
They had to do, I think, what they had to do, and Hogan understands that. I hope. I mean, just do not burn any bridges, Hulk, because even though if they feel they did you wrong, you'll be back.
I think that's the main thing. Like, Hulk knows that. Hulk Hogan knows that. Like, literally, he could have came out and he could have been like, well, Vince is like this, Triple H is like this, Shane's like this, Stephanie's like this. But at the same time, he's like, oh, I know, I'm going to be back. I got this. I'm going to keep all my personal opinions of what I've seen through all these years to myself because I'm coming back.
He's coming back.
Yep.
Well, it'll be nice to see Hogan conquer everybody and come back in his rightful place in the WWE. He's already on the road to doing so. But
Hulk had a fucking, like, his life. Like, I feel bad for this man. I don't give a fuck.
His wife, his show, he's been through a rough road since his career has slowed down a lot.
But, I mean, like, so many years old.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He was trying, Hogan knows best.
Hogan knows best.
Hogan knows best. But
hopefully Hogan still knows best and he does get back to where he needs to be.
Because like literally if it was like old school Hulk, he would sit there and he'd be like, you know what, Linda? I'm gonna blast you for this. You know what? My son like crashed his car. I'm gonna blast you for this. Look at Brooke. Brooke's doing all this shit.
Hulk Hogan making Gawker go bankrupt. Segueing on down the line, we have Ricochet versus Ospreay.
The best thing I ever fucking seen.
The match that has so much controversy. We need to talk about it right here, right now. Did you watch the match, Jason?
I watched that match. I had to watch that match in the corner while somebody's giving like commentary and stuff. I had to watch that match in the corner. When I seen that double springboard, when they're sitting there, I was like, what is this?
Double springboard.
I've never seen that. They literally bounced both off the ropes and then sat there and posed.
You're talking about the Jerry handspring.
Yes.
And to a double backflip where they both landed and posed like they're in a Dragon Ball Z fight.
Man, they literally sat there, they did all that stuff, and then they posed.
And the crowd went nuts.
The crowd,
how about that crowd?
The Japanese crowd is the best crowd in the world. I don't care. Like, you can take that to Chicago, you can take that to Los Angeles, but the Japanese crowd, they respect that stuff.
You know what I found amusing? There was no guardrails, and there was just probably people who knew how to take bumps just dressed in security shirts.
Yep.
That way, if the accident spilled on the outside, they acted like a impromptu guardrail, even protecting the people in the front row from taking. From feeling the impact from a high-risk maneuver over the top rope. They were there to catch the guys.
Dude, their chain wrestling was just insane.
Yeah.
Like, literally back and forth, just back and forth. Like, literally, like, busting it on the knees, and then all of a sudden going straight into
How about the reversals? All the reversals landing on their feet.
It was nothing but chain wrestling.
Even when you got into the nitty-gritty of the match, there was still the reversals. Now, this match has brought up a lot of controversy. Now, Vader, Leon White, is the one who at first says, hey, this isn't wrestling. These guys, I'm not going to take away from their athleticism.
Don't get me started on Vader.
But these guys, they're not selling and putting in the moves. What do you think about that?
Well, Vader... Oh my lord. Vader is overweight. Vader don't know. He knows the brawling. He knows the punches, the kicks. He knows how to be like that type of person. He doesn't know chain wrestling. You can't, like, literally, that's what the Japanese crowd loves.
But you got to remember that Vader has spent a good bit of his career in Japan.
Yes. He has, but at the same time, like when Vader comes out and stuff, they know what it is. They know it's a brawl. When it comes to like Ospreay, when it comes to Ricochet, when it comes to any of them, the Ring of Honor crowd, that's wrestling. That's going back and forth. That's some chain wrestling. That's some high spots. That's some back to chain wrestling. That's what they do. That's the best thing in the world. Right now, I love that stuff.
He loves his chain wrestling. Vader says they aren't cinching in the holds enough, and it's too fast paced, and it was too choreographed. Is what his.
Well, I mean, look at him. He's like, you can't do that. Like, that's the way it is. When it comes to these young cats that's weighing like 220 and stuff like that, that's what they do. They know how to go. They know how to just like they know how to entice a crowd.
They know how to entice a crowd. Now I just listened to a podcast between Steve Austin and Mick Foley, and in it they talk about Vader a lot. When Vader first came to WWE, he didn't know how to be a heel.
Nope.
Heels in WWE, they were afraid. They had to back away from the face. So Vader came in as a monster heel. Not afraid of anybody, but still the bad guy.
Yes.
And he didn't know how to fit in because he's like, hey, I'm Vader. I'm not supposed to be afraid of this guy. Yet, how do I be a heel in WWE when I'm supposed to be, but it's not my gimmick? So he never really knew where to fit in.
See, with Vader, like, he came in thinking he's a monster. Like, he's like, I'm supposed to destroy everybody I come across. You can't do that. Like, you're not wrestling jobbers. You know? You're not sitting there, Too Cold Scorpio, Flash Funk.
I'll tell you, though, one of the best clips I've ever seen of Vader is there is this underground... they make fun of wrestling clips and all that, and it's called Botchamania.
Botchamania.
Anyway, I see
love Botchamania.
Vader fighting Ken Shamrock on Botchamania. Ken Shamrock's just kicking his shins. You can clearly hear Vader say, hey, lighten up. Hey, lighten up on those kicks. Lighten up. Shamrock did not lighten up. Next thing you knew, Vader just gives out a clubbing clothesline as hard as he can, and then the equation is one knocked out Ken Shamrock.
See, that's the good thing, though. I like those types of matches, like where you just all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, right.
It brings the realism to it.
Yes, we're going to start working stiff. We're going to start, like, hitting each other.
All right, but that's my, that in essence is my point. There's that type of match, then you have the Ocean Spray Ricochet match, which is the complete opposite. So you have your strong style, which brings a realism to it, and then you have a match that's totally choreographed.
But see, here's the thing, though. When you got these cruiserweights, when you got these people weighing under so many pounds, and they're going to go back and forth, they're going to flip, they're going to fly, they're going to do all that stuff. Especially for a Japanese crowd, man. That's what Japanese people expect. You know, they want that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like American wrestling. It's two different worlds. So there's no reason, like, I heard Austin, I heard Cornette, everybody praised this
what
match.
did James E. Cornette have to say on that one?
He praised the match. He
That's
praised
unexpected.
it. Like, I didn't expect Cornette, like, of all people to sit there and praise this match, but he was like, that was a great match. Like, he loved that match.
Huh.
Like, because they worked their asses off.
They did. It reminded me of early 2000 ECW, what it was evolving into wrestling-wise. And if ECW would have continued on its track, I think that you would... I mean, you don't see that hardly ever these days. These kind of matches that these guys put on.
Like, even when it comes to, like, the lower brands, like the TNA, the NXT and stuff. Like, I love NXT. I love NXT for the matches they put on with the wrestlers that they have and stuff. I love that stuff. I love Ring of Honor, but
now I'm guilty here about Ring of Honor. I don't. I know who most of them are because 2 years ago I went to Ring of Honor show when they had it down here in Wheeling, West Virginia. I had never seen a Ring of Honor show before that, and that night they put on like 3 or 4 shows. So. It was like
they recorded their show.
Yeah, 3 or 4 episodes. So I got to learn about the wrestlers, their gimmicks, even how long some of them had been there. Because there was a gimmick that 4 of them were putting on. I forget what their name was, but the essence of it, they were all 10-year-plus veterans.
See, what I like about Ring of Honor is everybody that we know now, from Seth Rollins to...
They're from Ring of Honor.
They are from Ring of Honor. They literally went from Ring of Honor straight to NXT. You know, it used to, even back in the day, it was Florida Championship Wrestling and stuff like that until Triple H took over. But they did that. They perfected their craft. They're like, all right, we need you to do this. We need you to do that. But they still learned. And I love Ring of Honor. Because those are the guys that are sitting there busting their asses, just trying to get that call up, just trying to be like. And as soon as Triple H picks up the phone and be like, "Hey, we would like to have you right now," and they do that stuff. I love that.
So Ring of Honor, you think is a good. Starting area for WWE to pick their talents?
Well, I think Ring of Honor is a good promotion. A lot of them aren't going to like pick up the call. They're not going to like sit there and be like, all right, like Jay Lethal. Like Jay Lethal is sitting there and he's like, oh, I've been in TNA. He's never got to like the big leagues and stuff. But he's not. Like, it doesn't matter if they want to sit there and be like, hey, Jay Lethal, we want you to come into TNA right now. I don't see him doing it. A lot of them are, because a lot of them want that exposure. A lot of them want that training. A lot of them want that guidance.
They need the guidance.
They do. But when it comes to Ring of Honor, they put on some of the best matches in the world.
There's no arguing with that. This is the JR Show. Jacob Ricker. And we will be back after a brief moment. Well, we went about an hour, and that'll be our show for the week. We hope you enjoyed it, our rambling. We had fun doing it. So for Jason Jaco, this is Mike Ricker saying until next time.